December 5th, 1945, 6:20 p.m. 5 torpedo bombers circle somewhere over the Atlantic. Their final radio transmission crackles through the static. All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall, and the first plane drops below 10 gallons. We all go down together. Then, nothing. 5 aircraft, 14 airmen, vanished. A rescue plane with 13 crew launches to find them. 20 minutes later, disappears too. 27 men, 6 planes, 0 wreckage, 0 bodies, 0 answers. For 80 years, Flight 19 has been the Bermuda Triangle's most haunting mystery, and to this day, no one knows what really happened. Flight 19 was the designation for 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers on a routine overwater navigation training flight from Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, Florida. On December 5th, 1945, the mission? Fly east to the Bahamas, conduct bombing practice on a sunken ship, then return to base. Flight leader was Lt. Charles C. Taylor, a seasoned World War II veteran with 2,500 flying hours. At 2:10 p.m., the 5 Avengers took off. By late afternoon, Taylor radioed that his compasses had malfunctioned and he was lost. At 6:20 p.m., the last transmission was received. All 14 airmen disappeared. A Martin TBM Mariner rescue plane with 13 crew launched at 7:27 p.m. and vanished within 20 minutes. A massive 5-day search covering 300,000 square miles found nothing. 27 men and 6 aircraft were never seen again. The TBM Avenger was no fragile trainer. These were battle-tested torpedo bombers, the same aircraft that helped win the Pacific War, built by General Motors. Each Avenger was a 3-man fortress: pilot, turret gunner, and radio man bombardier. Specifications: wingspan, 54 feet maximum range, 1,000 miles. More than enough for a 300-mile training mission. Armored cockpits, designed to survive combat. Multiple flotation devices for ocean ditching radio equipment capable of long-range transmission. These weren't experimental prototypes. They were proven warbirds, robust, reliable, survivors of kamikaze attacks and Pacific storms. If anything could survive a navigation error, it was an Avenger. YouTube, but on December 5th, 1945, 5 of them simply ceased to exist. If this mystery is already giving you chills, smash that like button and subscribe, because Flight 19 is the Bermuda Triangle's most terrifying unsolved case. And it only gets stranger. The events that followed. December 5th, 1945 to 10 p.m. 5 Avengers roared down the Fort Lauderdale runway. Weather was favorable: moderate seas, clear skies, light winds. The mission plan was simple. Leg 1, fly east 56 miles to Hens and Chickens Shoals. Leg 2, practice bombing runs on a sunken freighter. Leg 3, fly north 73 miles. Leg 4, turn west and return to base. Total mission time, 3 hours. Expected landing, 5 p.m. The bombing run went perfectly. Every plane released its payload. Mission accomplished. Then, around 3:40 p.m., the tower at Fort Lauderdale received an unexpected radio call. Lt. Taylor, both my compasses are out. I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down. Taylor, a Miami native familiar with the Florida Keys, believed he had overshot Fort Lauderdale and was south of his position. In reality, he was northeast of Florida, heading farther into the open Atlantic. For the next 3 hours, radio transmissions grew increasingly desperate. Other pilots questioned Taylor's navigation. One suggested they fly west toward the setting sun to reach Florida. But Taylor, convinced they were over the Gulf of Mexico, ordered the flight to turn east. They were flying away from land. By 6 p.m., fuel was critical. Darkness was falling. The ocean stretched endlessly in every direction. At 6:20 p.m., Taylor transmitted his final message. All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together. Then, silence. 7:27 p.m. A Martin TBM Mariner flying boat with 13 rescue crew launched from Naval Air Station Banana River. The PBM was designed for long-range sea rescue, equipped with radar, searchlights, and medical supplies. If Flight 19 was floating in life rafts, the Mariner would find them. 7:30 p.m. The Mariner radioed a routine position report. 7:47 p.m. The rescue plane disappeared from radar. A merchant ship near Fort Lauderdale reported seeing a burst of flame in the sky, followed by an oil slick on the water. The PBM Mariner was notorious for fuel leaks and in-flight explosions. Crews nicknamed them flying gas tanks. The Navy launched the largest air-sea rescue operation in history. For 5 days, aircraft from the Navy, Army, and Coast Guard scoured 300,000 square miles of ocean. They found nothing, not a sea cushion, not a life raft, not a wing fragment, not a single body. The official Navy report initially blamed L.T. Taylor for navigational error. The report was later amended to read causes or reasons unknown to avoid blaming a dead pilot. But the questions remained. How do 5 massive aircraft, each weighing 7 tons, vanish without leaving any debris? How does a rescue plane explode midair, yet leave no wreckage floating? And why, in 80 years of searching, has no one ever found a single piece of Flight 19? For 80 years, no trace of Flight 19 has been found. The ocean swallowed 6 planes and 27 men without leaving a single clue. Dozens of wrecks have been discovered in the search zone, but none have been conclusively identified as Flight 19 until they refound. We can only imagine what lies beneath the Bermuda Triangle. If explorers could locate them somewhere between the Bahamas and the Florida coast, the descent would reveal the truth. As we pass 50 meters, sunlight fades. At 100 meters, only sonar and ROV lights pierce the darkness. Based on Flight 19's last known position, they likely ditched in waters 600 to 1,000 meters deep. If they ran out of fuel, the pilots would have attempted controlled water landings. But TBM Avengers were heavy. In rough seas, at night, with no visibility, controlled ditching becomes a death sentence. If Flight 19 is ever found, the scene will be scattered. 5 aircraft landing separately, miles apart, sinking at different rates. The sonar would detect angular shapes, wings torn off by impact, fuselages broken in half, engines separated from airframes. One Avenger would sit upright on the seafloor, relatively intact, perhaps the first to ditch the pilot, executing a near-perfect landing before the aircraft flooded and sank. The others would be twisted wreckage, victims of night, panic, and exhaustion. Inside the cockpits, if penetration were possible, the scene would be frozen in time. Flight controls pushed forward in the final seconds before impact. Throttles pulled to idle. Radio headsets still hanging from their hooks. The navigator S-table, where maps and plotting tools once tracked their course, would be buried in sediment. The last heading scrawled in grease pencil, showing a course northeast, away from Florida, away from safety. Life rafts remain stowed in their compartments, never deployed. Emergency flares unused. Flotation devices intact. These weren't men who had time to prepare. These were men who flew until their engines quit, then dropped into the ocean in darkness, somewhere beneath the Bermuda Triangle. Exact location unknown, depth unknown, condition unknown. Flight 19 tells its story to no one. Aluminum corrodes, legends grow, mysteries multiply. But the ocean keeps its secrets. 27 men vanished. Pilots, radio man, gunners, rescue crew. They left Fort Lauderdale expecting to return in 3 hours. They never came back. Their families never got closure. Their planes never gave answers, and the Bermuda Triangle became legend. For 80 years, Flight 19 has been the Triangle's most famous mystery. Books have been written, documentaries filmed, theories proposed, aliens, time warps, methane bubbles, government cover-ups. But the simplest explanation is often the truth: a malfunctioning compass, a navigation error, and fuel exhaustion over open water. Flight 19 is out there, somewhere, waiting to be found, waiting to prove that the Bermuda Triangle isn't magic. It's just ocean. It's deep, dark, unforgiving ocean that swallows mistakes and never speaks. If this 80-year-old mystery haunts you, keep it alive by sharing. Hit that like button, subscribe for more unsolved aviation and maritime mysteries, and turn on notifications, because one day someone will find Flight 19. And when they do, the Bermuda Triangle's most famous legend will finally have an ending. What's your theory? Compass failure, pilot error, something stranger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's solve this mystery together.